Hello everyone, welcome back to the classroom. Hi, today what we are going to talk about is audit plan and materiality. So what is this audit plan? Plan is something which we guys are aware of when you were there from your childhood itself. How ऐसे कैसे? So बेटा देखो सीधी सी बात है, सिंपल सी हिंदी भाषा में समझाता हूँ that तुम्हारे को एक बंदी पसंद आती है, तुम क्या करते हो? पूरा प्लान बिठाते हो, है ना, पूरा प्लान बिठाता है. इस टाइम वो ट्यूशन से निकलेगी, रास्ते में मैं जाऊंगा, वहां पे मिलूंगा, उसको सारी बात कह दूंगा, right? So suddenly what happens, everybody do have a kind of a crash. So what happens when you particularly decide that yes, you are going to propose her, so you lay down a particular plan that yes, at this time she will leave from her home itself and she will proceed towards her coaching classes, right? On the way itself, I'll stop her and I'll convey whatsoever is there into my mind, whatsoever is there into my heart, right? So इस तरीके से तुम प्लान बिठाते हो. So just like that, at that plan, during that plan, once you are over there with her, ठीक है, तुम उसके साथ में. Now at that point of time, you are going to talk about only relevant things, right? You will not talk about और बेबी खाना खा लिया, right? You are not going to have such kind of nuisance over there. So just like that, this chapter is all about that plan and materiality. Audit planning and materiality. So first of all, we are going to talk about that what is the audit plan, how the audit is required to be carried out, what are the various kinds of techniques and procedures, right? Techniques बहुत सारी होती हैं, right? There are a lot of techniques you can lay down on the, you can bend on your knees, right? तुम सीधे खड़े होकर भी ऐसे कह सकते हो. There are a lot of techniques which are available. After that, there are surprise checks as well. I will tell you more on this. This is something which happens into your day-to-day life as well. So after that, we do have materiality, and after materiality, everything will be done. That's it. Yes, this is going to be our chapter for today. Now let's quickly move on to the chapter and let's discuss about that. What are the things which we are going to cover? Oh, let us start accomplishing things one by one. Okay. Sir, where are you? Beta, I am there itself. But please rest assured, in your examination, you will be again getting a question from these things. And this teacher is already covering every kind of an RTP, right? Every kind of previous examination question paper, every kind of question which can be there, right? You are just required to sit back and relax, right? And memorize the things which are going on over there into the classroom, right? Now, talking about the very first topic, which is all about the audit procedure, or you can say the audit procedure or the audit process, whatever you want to call. Talking about this audit procedure, this gets started with the preliminary part. This preliminary part will tell you guys about that, yes, that in this kind of a situation, you are going to have initial disclosures with client. Initial disclosures with client. In this kind of initial disclosures, first of all, you are going to find out that what is going to be the scope of audit. Right? After that, the letter of engagement that yes, you are hired for conducting the audit for the client itself. Letter of engagement, you can say the letter of appointment. In this kind of a meeting with the client, you will come to know about that yes, I am going to be the auditor. I am going to carry out the audit. How much is going to be the scope of audit? After that, what are going to be the necessary things over there? But over here, in such kind of things, we are going to have, just like you have accounting standards, right? Over there we have SA. SA refers to standards of auditing. In standards of auditing, 510. In 210, we are going to talk about letter of engagement, and 510, we are going to talk about initial engagements. Letter of engagement, that what are the things which are going to be over there, and 510, we are going to talk about initial engagements. What are the initial engagements which are required? What are the initial engagements which are required? After moving on to next, once these things are finalized, you will do the audit planning. You are going to carry out the audit planning. This audit planning will require formulation of audit plan. that what is going to be the process of conducting audit, formulation of audit plan, right? After that, in this kind of a situation, you are going to laying down of broad framework of conductive work. Broad framework of conducting work. Right, after that, moving on to next, we are going to talk about onto the next situation, that is the method to exercise. That means which method you are going to adopt, right? So this method should be adopted, which is going to be, you can say, which is going to ensure the quality of work. The method should be most suitable. Okay, and over there into your auditing standard 220, we are going to talk about the principles relating to quality control in audit. Quality control in audit, right? After that, moving on to next. After that, we are going to move on to next step, which talks about internal control valuation. So first of all, it is the primary work of the auditors to ensure that yes, the internal controls, they are working properly and they are into force and they are properly effective. Internal control evaluation, right? Internal control evaluation. This talks about that yes, examination and evaluation. Examination and evaluation of nature, extent and efficiency. Nature, extent and efficiency of internal controls. That you should be aware about that yes, these are the certain kind of checks which are available. Moving on to next part. Please pause करो बेटा यहाँ पे. Pause, yes. Right. Now, after that, the next is all about examination of books of accounts. Examination of books of accounts, that means it talks about that yes, you are in this kind of a situation under this heading or under this classification, you are going to ascertain mathematical accuracy. Ascertain mathematical accuracy of books of accounts. Right? So how you are going to ascertain the accuracy? You can ascertain them by checking the opening and closing balances, ensuring that yes, there are entries in the subsidiary registers, the entries which are there into your vouchers, they have been posted into journals, from journals to ledgers, right? Casting, cross-casting, because every entry has a double-sided effect, right? So you are going to check those entries as well. After that, moving on to next. The next is vouching. We are going to discuss this vouching in detail. This can be one of the topics for 5 marks, but over here we are just going to write a couple of lines. Vouching over here means examining the documentary evidence. Examining the documentary evidence. That means documentary evidence is both internal and external, plus authority in support of transaction. Authority in support of transaction. Right? So I will tell you more on this beta. Vouching is not over here. These are just a couple of lines. पूरा elaborate करके इसको समझाऊंगा क्या होता है. अभी इसको छोड़ दो, ठीक है? Please leave it right now. I will explain everything over there in today's chapter itself. After that, there is going to be compliance verification. Compliance verification, that means you are going to check the validity of transactions. You are going to check the validity of transactions. This validity of transactions is checked with reference to the statutory provisions of accounts and audit. Statutory provisions of accounts and audit. That means you have heard about audit and auditor, which ranges from section 138 to section 148 of Companies Act 2013. The same is there with accounts, which talks about accounts, NFRA, opening, reopening of accounts, right? Voluntary, mandatory, everything is over there. The next is rules and regulations. Rules and regulations. Rules and regulations governing the organization. The organization. How? I mean, what are the various rules and regulations? I mean, we don't know. You guys know about it. When it comes to a company is governed by memorandum of association. If I talk about a firm, that is governed by a partnership deed. Right? So that is all about the situations. Got it? After that, there are some of the legal documents. That can be your annual returns, that can be your contracts, your agreements, your prospectus. Prospectus, remember, section number 26 of Companies Act. Right? Now moving on to next. The next is accounting standards. Accounting standards, principles and practices. What are the various kind of accounting standards, principles and practices which are adopted by your client? So this is going to be a compliance verification. But I hope you are not going to write anything else over here. Let me make the correction properly. So this is compliance verification. Compliance word refers to that yes, the laws which are applicable onto the company or the organization. जितने भी laws apply होते हैं, तो उन्होंने वो सारे laws को comply किया है. Properly उनको fulfill किया है या नहीं, right? After this compliance verification, please pause again. Very good, pause करो. After that, we will move on to the next part, which talks about the verification of assets and liabilities. Verification of assets and liabilities. Verification of assets and liabilities, that means you are going to verify the existence of these assets, right? The ownership of these assets, the various kind of values of these assets, and the nature and extent of liabilities. Understood? After that, we are going to talk about overall test and analytical reviews. That means, what does this mean? If I talk about overall test and analytical reviews, it includes the appropriation or application of test to check the reliability. Of accounting records and treatments. That how much reliable, कितना भरोसा करने लायक हैं आपके accounting records and treatments, how much reliable they are, right? After that, there is scrutiny of accounts. To establish reasonableness with legal requirements. Your accounts will be verified so that they will give you a scenario being like, yes, your accounts are as per the legal requirements. You have adopted the double entry system, and yes, things are over there which are going on as per the legal requirements. But a scrutiny is being like scrutiny. How many of you have covered income tax? Income tax में होता है ना जैसे scrutiny assessment. Just like these things are being Correct. Right. After that, computation of ratios takes place. Computation of ratios will take place. Computation of ratios to locate the areas. To locate the areas showing departure from expected state of affairs. From expected state of affairs. Right? So you are going to calculate the various kind of ratios which you are already covering into your account, which will give you a picture being like that, yes, what are the expected state of affairs for the organization. Right? So over here, if I talk about, this was the audit process. Right? This was the audit process. After that, this was the process being like that, how you are going to propose. Right? After that, now we are going to move to the next topic. You can pause over here. Pause. The next topic or the next thing which is over here is financial statement scrutiny. This is financial statement scrutiny. Right? So this is all about, you are going to scrutinize, you are going to ensure adequate disclosure. Ensure adequate disclosure of financial information as to convey true and fair view of financial position. So that whatever the financial position of the company is, so that the shareholders will get a true and final view. So that for that they are going to check everything in case of accounting standards, legal requirements. Few things over related to this are also written in Schedule 3 of Companies Act 2013. If that is a company, then only this will apply. If that is a partnership, Companies Act does not apply to partnership firms. Got it? Now you guys can pause again. After that, now we are going to move further to altogether a new topic itself. Now, so there are some kind of audit techniques. So audit techniques refers to the various kind of methods and means. For collection, you can say collection and accumulation of audit evidence. Accumulation of audit evidence. Right? There are so many techniques which are over there, but some of the common techniques which are adopted, they are posting checking. Right, after that you do have casting checking. Once entries are posted, they are checked. Once they are casted, they are checked. Physical examination for assets particularly physical examination and counting. Right, after that there is a kind of confirmation which we take from external sources. Right, then it's inquiry. The various kind of things which are over there. If I talk about the inquiry itself, you can inquire it from the external sources that yes, whether these assets belong to the company or not, or if those machineries are over there in the premises of company, you can check them with bank itself, with their banker. Is there any kind of a loan which is going on onto those kind of assets? If yes, the loan is reflecting onto your balance sheet or not. Right. So after that, bank reconciliation. Right, it's bank reconciliation statement. So these are the things which are over there. That means the various kind of methods which have been adopted. So just to get the audit evidences on basis of which the auditor can form an opinion that yes, whether the things are true, whether your accounts or your financial statements, or you can say your financial statements are giving a true and fair view or not. How many of you are getting a confusion between the audit procedure and audit technique? Is there anybody who is confused between audit procedure and audit technique? Yes, please. Now, let me show you. So this is all about, if I talk about audit procedure, if I talk about audit procedure, and if I talk about audit technique. Okay, if I talk about both of them. So first of all, audit procedure is a broad framework. Audit procedure is a framework of handling audit. Framework of manner of handling audit work. Of handling audit work. That how your audit work will be taken care of. Right? Techniques refers to the methods employed for carrying out procedure. For carrying out procedure. Right? So if this is your procedure, then these are the various methods which you are applying. This is method, this is method, this is method, then it's procedure. Then it's procedure. Okay, so if I talk about audit procedure, they generally comprise compliance procedure, right? That is over there being like the next is test of details. In test of details, we do have substantive procedure, which is already covered with you guys. You guys know about substantive procedure, right? Method employed for carrying out procedure. So now moving on to next, if I talk about audit techniques, they are over there. If I talk about procedure is one after another. One, then this, then this, then this. This is over there, how the scenarios work, right? But techniques are interdependent. As combination of techniques is applied in procedure. बेटा टेक्निक बहुत सारी होती है, वो आ रही है सामने से, तुम घुटनों पे बैठोगे, उसके बाद उसको रोज दोगे, चॉकलेट दोगे, जो भी है, आज तक अपने लिए ना लिया हो रोज, अपने लिए चॉकलेट ना लियो, उसको दोगे. So that is one of the techniques that you are going to bend on your knees. The next technique is you are going to offer a rose, you can offer a ring as well. तुम्हारा बजट अच्छा है, सीधा बाराती ले जाओ वहां पे. Over confidence, right? Should I go ahead? Yes, please. Now moving on to next, you guys can pause over here. The next is that why we need audit procedure. That means need, or you can say relevance of procedures and techniques. Why this over there? Why we need procedures and techniques? What is the relevance? What is the significance? So first of all, we need them so that we can have an evaluation of internal control. This is really one of the vital aspects for an auditor. What is internal control? What is not? This is what we are going to cover into altogether a chapter itself. This is why it is required. Right, beta? Hope you can write lines on them as well. After that, examination of accounting records. Whatever the various kind of accounting records are over there. So accounting records are the base, particularly the basis from which you are going to make the financial statements. So auditor has to report that yes, the accounting records are placed before him when he was making an opinion on when he was doing his audit. The accounting records were placed before him and he has formed an opinion. On the basis of those accounting records, he has framed an opinion onto the financial statements that yes, they are prepared proper. Right? Auditor is also required to check that yes, whatever the accounting records which are over here, they are maintained by the company as per law itself. Verifying authorization of transactions. Verifying authorization of transactions. So what is this verifying authorization of transactions? Beta, what you will find that when it comes to there is any company, if any company is giving any check, so this check will have signature of two people. Two people are going to sign on this check. Why? This is a verifying authorization. Two people are going to sign. The first is Chichora and the next is Babu. Or leave Chichora. First, let me give you a scenario being like. So first baby will sign and this after that Babu will sign. Right? So whatever the signature has been obtained from baby, this will be automatically verified. Babu is going to verify that yes, the signature has been done from baby. He is going to verify those things again. Right? After that Babu will sign. Baby, Babu, what are the other things? Honey, sweetheart, right? You can write a lot of things as well. अब बस हटा देता हूँ, तुम्हारे घर वालों ने देख लिया ना कि क्या कर रहा है लड़का हमारा, अभी आ जाएंगे. Right, now moving on to next. The next is all about verification of external evidence. Beta, you guys know about what is verification of external evidence? Right? That means the things which are not available within the organization. The data which is provided by outside the organization, or you can say independent resources outside the organization, they are more reliable. This is something which you guys have already covered. After that, compliance and substantive test. This is which you guys are already aware of. This was a total difference between. Okay, you guys are already aware of this. Got it? So this is the reason that why there is a need for procedures and techniques. Got it? Should I go ahead now? Moving on to next part, my dear student. Please pause. Now, let's talk about the one topic which was over there and which I told you guys that we are going to discuss that in detail as well. Please pause. Pause करो बेटा. देखो. The next is voucher. Voucher is over there. Voucher is particularly a documentary evidence. Voucher is a documentary evidence. Both this can be internal, this can be external, and it is used in support of entries. Used in support of entries made in books of accounts, of business. Got it? So this is altogether a documentary evidence which is used in support of entries. First of all, you are going to make a voucher. Right? After that, you are going to prepare your journals, ledgers, casting entries. You are going to prepare accounts. Right? So that is first of all the very basic prima facie. The very first step is vouchers. You are going to prepare a voucher. You are going to prepare a sales voucher, purchase voucher. Right? After that, so there is every time what you will find that when it comes to preparing anything, they do have a couple of copies, right? So one is original voucher, right? And after that, there are some copies supporting voucher. So original voucher are known as primary vouchers. They are known as primary vouchers. Right? And after that, the supporting, they are known as collateral vouchers. They are known as collateral vouchers. Got it? So if I talk about, there is another bifurcation. This was the first bifurcation on the basis of that what is over there. The next is internal vouchers, and external vouchers. So this internal vouchers are the vouchers within the entity. Vouchers within the entity. That means within the organization. Got it, beta? This can be sales invoice, this can be purchase order, this can be goods received note. Goods received means you have placed an order at Domino's, right? After placing an order at Domino's, the Domino's delivered the goods, right? You are going to give them a goods received note that yes, your goods have been successfully received. But over here, nothing is going to happen because that is for immediate payment. So you have placed an order at, you can say, PP Jewelers, right? You have placed an order at, sir, you don't like PP Jewelers, so you will take Tanishq. अच्छा ठीक है Tanishq. तुमने ले लिए एकदम घोर गहने, बप्पी लहरी बनना चाह रहे हो तुम लोग. अब इतना पैसा नहीं है, बप्पी लहरी तो बन गया, पैसा नहीं है, उसको पहन के घूम रहे हो, right? So over there, if I tell you guys that after receiving the goods, you are required to give them a note that yes, the goods have been received. Bank pay-in slip is again an internal voucher. Pay-in slip, जब आप पैसा जमा करने जाते हो तो वहाँ पे आप एक slip भरते हो बेटा. That is a pay-in slip. That is again an internal voucher that will work within the company itself. Right? External vouchers are the vouchers originating outside the entity. Simple. Got it? Right? Just like you do have some kind of bank statement, right? Acknowledgement for payment, you have made the payment. There is a kind of an acknowledgement for that. Inward correspondence, purchase bills, you have purchased something, right? You got the bill, but that bill belongs to any other entity, which is not your company. That bill has been given to you by somebody else, which is not working in the organization, or who or she is not working with the organization. Moving on to next, please. Pause karo. Pause. Yes. The next is vouching. This is vouching. Sir, that is one and the same thing. अच्छा. तुम्हारे को लग रहा है यहाँ पे टीचर के माथे पे कुछ लिखा है? नहीं ना? सर दिखाओ. ये देखो कुछ लिखा है यहाँ पे. Is there anything which is written over here? नहीं ना? तो बस ठीक है. I am right. I will tell you everything about this as well. सर खुद आप गाने सुन रहे हो, गाने नहीं सुन रहा हूँ बेटा. This is just for voice clarity. Vouching over here, that means it refers to examination of all documentary evidence. Which is available to support genuineness of transactions. Before a transaction will be recorded, right? Voucher is prepared in client's records. Got it? So these are documentary evidences. They are available to support the genuineness of transactions. Got it? And why this vouching is required? Why? Because first of all, why we need this? Why? Because it has a certain kind of importance. The very first point for importance is there are some kind of basic evidences. There are some kind of basic evidences. These evidences, they are designed to obtain. They are designed to obtain evidence as to completeness. Evidence as to completeness, accuracy, and validity of data. Produced by accounting system. Produced by accounting system. But whatever your entries are showing, there is a kind of voucher in support of everything. आपने bill काटा, that is a voucher. Got it? The next is assurance. That is assurance. So auditor is over there who needs to obtain reasonable assurance for the transactions. Assurance, by doing this you will get an assurance that all transactions are recorded in proper accounts. Recorded in proper accounts. Well, that means the transactions which are related to the receipts, you can say the income, and as well as the revenue or expenses, whatever you want to classify, they have been recorded properly. The account in which they have been recorded, that is proper, and the period refers to the time period for which they have been recorded, that is also proper. Right? After that, you are going to have an assurance being like the entity, the transaction took place. The transaction took place during the relevant period. That yes, if a transaction has been posted into a time period of, let us say, August, the transaction should be there into August. It should not be like that it belongs to any other month that you have posted into August. Got it? Transactions recorded would have been recorded should have been actually occurred. Should have been actually occurred. The transactions which are over there, my dear student, you are going to record them only if they have occurred. If you have done some kind of sales, they will be recorded only if the sales have been done. There should be no entries which have not been occurred. This is going to be a straight away a fraud otherwise. You can pause now. Pause for beta. Pause. Very good. Yes. Now, the next third point is all about that we are going to have a genuineness. If you do have something, right? You do have something being like, जैसे आप बैंक जाते हो, आपके पास you do have a kind of a paying slip. If the amount is, if you using that same paying slip, you can check your passbook, right? Beta, you went to a bank, you deposited approximately 50,000 rupees into your bank account. You do have paying slip for that, right? The same will get reflected onto your passbook. That is the same thing with the voucher. That paying slip is voucher, and your passbook, that is your accounting transactions, right? So this will give you genuineness of transactions. Beta, whatever I am writing, you are required to elaborate every point into 1, 2, 3 lines, right? Then next is validity of transactions. The auditor will come to know about the actual validity of transactions, that how much valid transactions they are. Right? The next is all about proof of accuracy. This is a proof of substantive accuracy. Right? That just like you went to a bank, you deposited 50,000 rupees. You deposited 50,000 rupees. After that, the same will get reflected into your passbook. But into your passbook, they have reflected 5,000 rupees. Now, immediately, you can, using your passbook, you can approach to bank and you can make it 50,000 rupees. Okay? So this is going to be a total scenario that how the things are going to work. So your paying slip is going to act as a proof of accuracy. Right? Using that, you can make it being like 50,000 rupees. Sixth is, it is a basis for verification. Because there are so many points, and just disclosing few points with you guys. You are not required to memorize 10 points. 5-6 पॉइंट ही करवा रहा हूँ बेटा, कोशिश करना आप सारे करके जाओ. Okay. Now, moving on to next part. Now there are two difference between. Yes, there are two difference between. Let us quickly take care of them as well. Now, the next is all about, let us take a difference between vouching and verification. So, vouching is verification, that's one and the same thing? No, they are different. Right? Verification, that means this term applies and vouching do applies. They do have some similarities, but there are some differences as well. Vouching refers to examination of documentary evidence. Examination of documentary evidence. The documentary evidence is vouchers. Yes, the documentary evidence is the vouchers only. They are the documentary evidences. In support of transactions contained in books. Transactions contained in books. So this documentary evidence, if I talk about, these are vouchers itself. But if I talk about verification, it refers to examination whether assets and liabilities, are properly stated in balance sheet. Right? So they are going to check about the things related to balance sheet only. That means the assets and liabilities. But over here we are going to check about every kind of transaction. Got it? So this was the meaning or definition, whatever you want to write. Got it? समझ में आ रहा है बेटा? थोड़ा क्यों, पूरा समझ में आना चाहिए. Now, it is done. Why vouching is done? Vouching is done to check authenticity. Of transactions recorded in primary books of accounts. Right? So that is required to check the authenticity of the transaction in primary books of accounts. Sir, what is primary books of accounts? Okay, you guys do not know about the primary books of accounts? Your journal is the only primary book of account. Journal. Got it? Right? But when it comes to verification, this is done to check the ownership. Valuation and existence. Of assets and liabilities. assets and how much is the value, who is the owner, and whether your assets are existing or not. So this is going to be the objective, this can be one of the purpose, and this can be the aim of vouching, right? Now moving on to next. So if I talk about when it comes to vouching, vouching is done at point of origin. That means point of origin, the place from where the transaction is going to start, that is the voucher itself, right? And if I talk about the verification is done at financial statements page. At financial statement page. So this is all about point of view, or you can say point of view. Yes, point of view. So this is origin, that means we used to start it from the vouchers itself. Got it? Now if I talk about vouching, there are so many aspects which are taken care of, and if I talk about verification, the same is over there. Please pause. Moving on to next. So there are so many aspects which are covered if I talk about vouching. And again, there are few aspects which are covered in verification. Talking about vouching, what you will find that you are required to find out the date of voucher, which will tell you that yes, it belongs to the concerned period. After that, you are going to check the proper authorization. The person who has given the voucher, he was or she was duly authorized or not. There was supporting evidence to the voucher. Supporting evidence is either the bill or the challan itself by which the payment has been made. Right? Over here, if I talk about, you are going to check the assets and liabilities. That whether the ownership, existence, valuation, lien, they are properly presented on the financial statements or not. Right? So after that, you can also know right over there being as completeness in all aspects. In all aspects. Got it? Understood, beta? Now we are going to move further, where we are going to talk about the next thing. Pause karo. Pause. Yes, very good. Now, the next is all about the very first part over here is confirmation. If I talk about confirmation and if I talk about verification, they are synonyms into your normal English, but they are different in auditing, right? So, confirmation means response to an query. Response to an query. Response to a concern, query, or you can say inquiry. You are finding something difficult. You do have a question. You just WhatsApp me and you get the response. That is a confirmation that yes, you know, the sir said, our teacher, Divay Miglani, he said that yes, this is correct. So that is a confirmation. Okay. But if I talk about verification, that means examination by proper means. By proper means. That assets and liabilities are properly stated in balance sheet. Stated in balance sheet and income and expenditure. Income and expenditure is stated in profit and loss account. Got it? So if I talk about, so confirmation thus is related to applicable to specific areas. Specific areas. So that is all about the confirmation which is required on the balance from debtors. If you are showing that yes, from Mr. C I have to take 10 crore rupees. So the same will be confirmed from C as well. So that is like confirmation from your creditors, confirmation from your lenders. You are telling that yes, I have to give, I owe rupees 20 crore rupees to SBI bank. The same will be confirmed from SBI that yes, whether it's 20 crore or you are trying to reduce the liability, or you are trying to basically mention the minimum, amount with less than the actual amount of loan. आपका loan amount है 200 crore rupees. You are just mentioning 20 crore rupees so that your balance sheet looks good. Okay, got it? Over here the scope is broader scope. It's much broader because it is restricted. It is restricted to verification of assets and liabilities of assets. Sir, you talk about that yes, debtors are also over there into balance sheet. Yes, that was a common example altogether. That was a common example. So this is meaning. Got it, beta? The next is scope, and the next is objective. That why we need confirmation. So that is just to corroborate evidence which provide further assurance. Of internal evidence. Well, so this is all about to check, or you can say verification is all about related to all the time assets and liabilities, to inquire into ownership, valuation, existence and presentation of assets and liabilities. Got it? Yes, please. So verification is all the time related to assets and liabilities, and with this confirmation is over there for specific areas. Got it? Now pause over here. Please pause karo beta. Now moving on to next part. Likewise, now you guys are studying over here. You guys are over there into your room and you are studying, right? Suddenly what is going to happen? Your mom or anybody from your family, they are going to open the door and they are going to check. कि whether you are studying actually or not. और ऐसा तो नहीं है कि आप फोन चला रहे हो, वो बार बार दरवाजा खोल के चेक करते रहते हैं, पढ़ रहा है ना, तू पढ़ रहा है ना, है ना? फोन चला रहे होगे तो वो पकड़ लेंगे. So what is that? That is a surprise check. Got it? That is known as a surprise check. This surprise check, audit procedures cannot be done on regular basis onto a routine manner, right? So in order to carry out the audit procedures effectively, there are few kind of surprise checks which may form a part of audit procedure, right? Now it provides flexibility and sense of surprise in manner certain checks are carried out. Okay, so there are certain checks which are carried out that can be related to cash verification, that can be related to the investment verification. So there are a lot of significant. What is the significance of surprise check? The very first is it gives you audit effectiveness. Your audit becomes much effective as compared to the previous one, right? So there is a kind of review of internal controls. Whatever they are decided, over there surprise checks ensure that yes, internal controls are working effectively and they are working throughout the year itself. Detection of errors and frauds. So मम्मी बेटा बार बार दरवाजा क्यों खोलती हैं? इसीलिए खोलती हैं ताकि so that your mom used to check so that she is going to find out that yes whether you are actually studying or not. Surprise, है ना? After that, next is moral checks. Moral checks. Next is suitability. What does the suitability refers to? Suitability refers to that surprise checks should be all the time, they should be appropriate. That means surprise checks should be appropriate. Should be appropriate. Right? So if I talk about there is one company which is over there at a very large scale, then you need more surprise checks. If there is a very small company, then you need less surprise checks. If auditor is particularly not satisfied with the systems of internal control, he is finding that yes, internal controls are not working properly, surprise checks needs to be increased. Right? Suitability. After that, there are some areas which are required for them the surprise check is relevant, just like cash investment, your stock, that means inventory, your stores, your statutory registers which are required to be maintained under Companies Act, right? So that you are making the entries on daily basis or not, that is required to be checked. After that, your surprise checks will let you know about up-to-date records. You will come to know about that yes, there are up-to-date records. The records which are over there forming a part of prime entry, they are over there with up-to-date. They should be maintained up-to-date. Okay. Now, this is the significance. Now, why we need? This is the significance. You can say that yes, what are the various advantages? Dekho, people are too mad. Actually. Now let's do one thing. The same things, advantages can be written over there if I talk about the need for surprise check. So let's move on to, let's talk about that there's a difference between the surprise test. Okay, there is surprise test. Right? And so here we are going to write the pieces. And if I talk about surprise test, and there is something which is already over there being named as test checks. So surprise test, this particularly refers to that out of routine checks. Right? That is carried out in normal course of audit. Out in normal course of audit. Right? So test checking, if I talk about test check, this is, you can say, an accepted auditing procedure. An accepted auditing procedure where only a part of transactions is checked. Transactions is checked to form an opinion. Right? So over here, this was particularly the meaning or definition, whatever you want to call. So these are out of routine, and they, if I talk about test checks, they are forming a part of routine nature. They are into routine nature itself. But surprise tests, they are out of routine. There is a surprise element in such verification. Surprise element in such verification. Right? So they are conducted during normal course of audit. So this is all about what is common. Common is timing, right? So if I talk about the surprise checks, in surprise checks you have cash verification. What the various aspects or the areas of checking? That is cash verification. The next is investment verification. Investment verification. Right. The next is stores and stocks. Stores and stocks, that means talking about the inventories. Right. After that, verification of books, verification of books of prime entry, that means journals or books of prime entry. Right. So and after that, the statutory registers, which are required to be maintained, including the minutes book and the various kind of registers under Companies Act. So if I talk about areas of checks, right? So after that, if I talk about the test checks, they are overall a check. They are check on effectiveness. They are checks on effectiveness of internal control system. Internal control system. Right? So this is done to check the effectiveness of internal control system, and surprise test is done to carry out all these things. Right? Got it? Yes, please. So beta, I am already writing 3 points over here. Make sure you are not going to leave any of these points. Now let's quickly move on to the next topic, which talks about the audit program. Audit program, sir, जैसे वो आता है, there are a lot of programs on TV as well. No, I'm not talking about them. Please pause करो जल्दी से. Pause. Very good. So this is the next topic is all about audit program. Audit program, in such kind of an instance, what happened? This is a kind of detailed work plan. Detailed work plan, and this is to carry out audit. And this is prepared by an auditor. But you will find that you will not get such kind of a layout. आपको कोई printout नहीं मिलेगा, वो आपको verbally बता देगा कि पहले जाओगे ना, सबसे पहले ये check कर. Then after that, moving on to next. So this plan particularly provides for prepared by auditor and provides for supervision and control of audit work. So the plan which has been prepared, it provides for the supervision and control of audit work. Got it? So this is prepared by auditor, and they will tell you everything that how you are going to carry out audit. Right? So if I talk about the advantages of audit program, that is really clear. If I talk about the advantages, first of all, the instructions are clear. They are clear. Right? The extent of manner and checking of the different aspects which are related to the accounting records, the instructions are clear, and you are required to move on with the instructions itself. Right? Along with this, you do have a certain kind of checklist, as they have given you a kind of a work plan using which you are required to carry out their audit. This is a checklist of the procedures and techniques which are required to be applied. They will tell you that yes, using this technique we are going to conclude this audit program. After that, they will more tell you about the phasing work. Phasing work, yes. They will tell you this is going to be our phase 1, then it is going to be our phase 2. First of all, we are going to check the vouchers. After that, we are going to check the journals. Then we are going to move on to the ledgers. Simultaneously, if I talk about ऐसे check करोगे, or else you are going to check it like being like that. Yes, you will take one entry. Then you are going to check the vouchers. Then you are going to check the supporting elements. Then journals. Then ledgers. Then your accounts. Right? The phasing work. How the phases have been divided. After that, they will tell you about selection of team members. which the people who are selected, or you can say assistants, or the qualified people who are selected for the jobs on the basis of their capability. Moreover, it also provides for the supervision. That plan will totally lay down the things being like that, who will be acting as a supervisor and who will be over there controlling the periodic reference to the program. Right? The plan sometimes too also provides for work review. So just like whatever, if there's a team of being like being 6-7 people, so four people will be doing a work and 2 people they will be reviewing the work. They will review, they will carry out the work, and rest of them they will review, and one of them will be acting as supervisor. This supervisor is generally a qualified person. 4. This is done required. These 4 people are generally trainees or articles, you can say. Got it? After that, this also acts for future planning. Your current planning will be, your current audit will be carried out, that will be done, but it also serves a purpose for future planning. Got it? Now, if I talk about the responsibility, the instructions which are given to the concerned audit team, right? So over there is a person who is assigned for the responsibility, particularly known as supervisor. The responsibility will lie on the person who is leading in the team itself. Leading team itself, right? That will be fixed on a team member who has signed. Leading team member, he is going to sign. His responsibility is fixed, right? If you do have a kind of a program, that will also give you a record of work, that how and what is the sequence, how the work has been carried on. Looking at the list, you can easily identify that yes, ye ho gaya, ye ho gaya, ye ho gaya, aise. Okay? Just like you guys tend to prepare a checklist being like before your examination, that these are the chapters which are left. That is just like a program that is carried on. Okay? Now you can pause beta. Pause karo. Pause. Yes. Now, there are some disadvantages. Disadvantages, why it is being like, because it totally talks about that there's a list and you have to comply that list. Whatsoever is written into the list, you have required to follow that. But आपके पास एक list है, you have a list, right? There may be few things which are going to be outside the list. You have, everything is written over here, but there may be some of the situations which are outside your list. Then in that situation, what you are going to do, it is totally a mechanical work, because whatever you are instructed to do, you are going to follow that, right? Because mechanical work, how to deal with special circumstances, you have no idea about it, right? So there may be some situations now, how to deal with special situations, how to deal with special circumstances, how that will be dealt, right? The next is rigidity. Why rigidity is over there? Being like that, yes, whatever the schedule which has been shared, you have to straight away follow that. आपको सीधा सीधा वही follow करना है बस. So that is again a constraint, because there may be sometimes requirement of additional procedures. You may sometimes require additional procedures depending upon situation. What you are going to do now? There will be false sense of security. False sense of security. Why false sense of security? Because beta, when it comes to some of the situations which are not over there into your list, there the procedure has been laid down. ये तो ऐसी बात हो गई, the answers have been written over there, but the question can be something different. So false sense of security, what will happen? That yes, the team will fail to apply their mind. Will fail to apply their mind. Because they will follow straight away the instructions of being like that things are for their answer. Lack of initiative. Lack of initiative. Lack of initiative, that means independent judgment and initiative which are taken by lack of initiative and independent judgment by staff. बेटा गर्ल्स का तो पता नहीं, but when it comes to boys, if you guys generally opt for the audits which are outside your city, सिटी से बाहर जाओगे, बहुत सारे बच्चे जाते हैं. You will come to know about people are doing audits for BITS Pilani, people are doing audits for your government authorities. I mean, some of my friends are over there who are doing audit for Bhel. Bhelpudi नहीं. Bhel, it's a government organization. Yes. So you will come to know about that. Yes, things are over there. You will get to know about that. Yes, you will visit their plants. You will visit everything. और जितना तुम्हें चाहिए होता है ना, जो तुम्हें चाहिए होता है सब देंगे वो. Whatever you demand, that will be served onto your table. You will forget to have lunch at your home अगर तुम audit पे जा रहे हो, तरस जाओगे. After that, the next is lack of suitability. Lack of suitability over here refers to, that means the procedures may be wrong. The procedures or the techniques which have been specified into the list, they may be wrong. They may be inappropriate. They may be wrong or they may be inappropriate. Got it? So if I talk about, now the next thing is, if I talk about this audit program, it do have some disadvantages. But is there any way to overcome these disadvantages? Is there any way to avoid the disadvantages of audit program? क्या है कोई रास्ता? This is how a professional will advise now. So ways to avoid disadvantages of audit program. Audit program. There are so many ways to do that, right? So the very first point is that you can, first of all, is suitability. So whenever we are giving a kind of an audit program to your client, you are required to, consider for a few factors. Program should be designed keeping in mind few factors. The very first kind of a factor is nature of business which your client does have. What kind of business does he have? After that, the scale of operations. Definitely, if I talk about scale of operations of Patanjali and if I talk about scale of operations of Bikaner Sweets, that is totally different. Right? The volume of transactions and the efficacy, or you can say efficiency, of internal controls. How much effective your internal controls are. Keeping these things in mind, an auditor is required to frame his audit program. After that, the next is review of internal controls. Whatever your internal controls are, if you are going to have a periodic review on them, if they are viewed and they are evaluated to obtain the changes into your internal controls, right? They should be reviewed on a regular basis, so that you came to know about that. Yes, they are effective, but how much effective they are? They are 50% effective, 70% effective, or 100% effective, right? Changed business operations. If a company was over there, right? If I talk about Anjali ka pati, sir, it's Patanjali. No, beta, it's Anjali ka pati. Anjali ka pati was over there, first of all, in medicines, right? Now they have moved on into apparels as well, right? They have moved on into apparels as well. वो apparels कपड़ों में भी आ गए. धीरे-धीरे सब कुछ दे देंगे बाबा रामदेव. समझना चाह रहे हो ना? मैं थोड़ा-थोड़ा उससे रिलेट कर रहा हूँ. Okay. कहाँ सुनते हैं? हाँ. तो फिर after some time they have moved on into apparels. They will give you a lot of things. वो तो क्लास थोड़ी तुम्हारे को पता ना, A rated नहीं है, समझ में आ रही है. So better, they have changed their business operations. You can say they have diversified their business. The more diversification, सर वो पत्तों वाले कपड़े आएंगे क्या? बेटा मेरे को नहीं पता. Those they have changed their business. You should be aware about the change into the business operations so that you can make audit program much more effective. Right? There may be business may be changed, may be expanded, or that may be diversified. That may be changed, that may be diversified, depending upon the situation to situation. Auditors should be aware about the client's company if you want to give the audit plan which is going to be super effective. Right? Now, should I go ahead, Peter? Please pause. Please pause. Now, so what you will feel like that yes, there should be a participative approach. If I talk about the articles, right? If I talk about the articles, they never used to take a kind of an initiative कि ठीक है कुछ गलत हो रहा है तो जाके सर को बताओ कि sir this is something which I am unable to understand. You will hardly find any of the reasons behind that as well, right? So participative approach by assistants for suggestions. You will tell them about the mistakes, but you are not going to give any kind of suggestions. वो पता क्या बोलेगा, बेटा तुम्हारी गलती नहीं है, हमेशा from the time of you can say from our independence itself, हर एक इंसान को लगता है उसका बॉस जो है वो गधा है, तुम्हारी गलती नहीं है इसमें. This is a myth which is going on. वो गधा है और वो गधा बॉस बन गया, तुम एकदम बीरबल और तुम पीछे रह गए. Participative approach, after that it's flexibility. There should be flexibility. I mean the audit program should not be like being like it's stereotyped. No. There should be a revision of this audit program time to time. A revision of program which you have adopted time to time. Revision will take place because there may be some of the material changes which have taken place. Right? And after that, there should be a minimum requirement. There should be a kind of a minimum requirement of tests which are required to be carried on. That this test time we are going to have the test. That depending upon the nature of the business and the volume of transactions, an auditor is required to do the tests which are required. Okay? Got it? Yes, please. Now, while giving audit plan, so this is all about disadvantages, how they can be overcome. This is all about audit program, advantages, disadvantages, how you can avoid disadvantages. Okay. Now, please pause. Pause karo beta. You can pause over here. Yes, please. Now, the next is there is an auditor. Right? There is a person who is an auditor. Auditor is the concerned person who is going to give the audit program. He will give the audit program. He will give the audit program, and that audit program is taken care of by his team members. While making this audit program, the auditor is required to consider few matters. He is required to consider few matters. Those matters which are over there. What are these following matters which are required to be taken care of while making audit program? So first of all, the very first point is terms of engagement. Engagement beta over here means appointment. It does not mean the engagement ceremony. Or responsibilities of auditor. Got it? After that, the nature and timing of report. Nature and timing of report. right? Report or other communications. At which point of time you are going to submit your audit report. Applicable legal or statutory requirements. Applicable legal requirements, just write legal requirements, they will cover everything. Applicable legal requirements, right? Accounting policies adopted by client. Accounting policies adopted by client. Which policy they have adopted. Plus changes, if any. Are there any kind of changes into their accounting policy? Right? Got it? Now, after that, if they have made any changes, what is going to be the effect of those changes? Identification of audit areas. Of audit areas. Right? That what are the following areas where the audit is required? Right? Setting of materiality levels for audit purposes. So what are the various materiality levels? Sir, what is materiality? That is my next topic. I will tell you everything on that. So what are the various materiality levels? Right? After that, conditions for special attention. Conditions for special attention. Special attention means the probability of having the fraud into certain kind of, you can say transactions, or if you talk about the directors or the people who are holding the substantial interest into a couple of companies, they are the substantial owners into holding as well as subsidiary. In both of them, they are substantial owners, right? Or degree of reliance. Sir, Reliance Jio. Nahi, beta, Reliance means how much reliable they are, how much trustworthy. Degree of reliance of auditor. Degree of reliance auditor expects from accounting system and internal controls. How much the accounting system and the internal controls are effective, are trustworthy. What does the auditor believes कि कितने trustworthy हैं इनकी जो accounting systems है? कहीं ऐसा तो नहीं है सारी धांधलेबाजी है. If I talk about the scams, तो कुछ scams हैं, right? So in that situation, automatically the reliance is going to decrease. Got it? Yes, please. After that, rotation of specific audit areas. Whatever the audit areas which you have selected, they are going to be same all the time, or they are going to rotate as per the requirement. So company was over there into medicines, now they have switched on to your apparels. So you are going to make the rotation accordingly. You are going to make the rotation accordingly. Well, now moving on to next part. The next is involvement of experts. That is sufficient now. You have 10 points now. Involvement of experts. How many experts are required? At a lot of times what you will find that yes, in order to carry out the audit, they need a firm of approximately 7 people. They need 7 auditors. There should be 7 professionals, out of which 3 people should be over there who are going to carry out the audit. Right? After that, establishing and coordinating staff requirements. Coordinating staff requirements. Got it? Yes, please. Got it, beta? Understood? Now moving on to next. So it's all about coordinating staff requirements. तुम्हारे को सही बताऊंगा. कहीं भी चले जाना, किसी के भी पास चले जाना, दे विल टेल यू कि हाँ यार हमारे यहाँ ऑडिटर आता है ना, हम बड़ी सेवा करते हैं। बेटा इतनी सेवा तुमने अपने घर में माँ बाप की नहीं करी होगी जितनी वो तुम्हारा करता। बेचारा पैर तक दबाने को पड़ जाता है ढंग के ऑडिटर हो अगर तुम तो। बस थोड़ा उससे प्यार मोहब्बत बना के रखना, तभी वो तुम्हारे पैर पड़ेगा, वरना अगली बारी ऑडिट ही नहीं देगा। थोड़ा प्यार मोहब्बत बना के रखना पड़ता है। चले नाउ मूविंग ऑन टू नेक्स्ट पार्ट। पॉज करो, पॉज, यस। नाउ मूविंग ऑन टू नेक्स्ट पार्ट। द नेक्स्ट टॉपिक फॉर टुडे इज materiality. What is this materiality now? So account standards of auditing, or you can say auditing standard 1. It talks about materiality, which talks about disclosure of accounting policies. Disclosure of accounting policies. They have given the definition of materiality. They talks about that yes, materiality is something. This is one of the easiest definition which I am sharing with you guys. There are some different, difficult definitions as well, but it's okay. You are just required to, refer them as well. They are sufficient. Items, knowledge of which may influence the decision of users. The decision of users of financial statements. So if I talk about that, yes, if the information is going to be shared, then their influence is going to change. If these items are over there, if they are disclosed, the decision of the users of financial statements, they are going to change. So if you do have a loan of approximately 2000 crore rupees and you are showing it being like 1000 crore rupees, this is going to affect the decision. So you can also write it being like information is material. Information is material if its misstatement. If its misstatement could influence, if that could influence the economic decisions, of users taken on basis of financial information. Got it? Understood? So if you are not going to disclose it, or if you are going to make any of the misstatements, that can influence the decision. If there is a bank, right, you have conveyed, or else your balance sheet talks about that yes, you do have a loan of 500 CR and your assets are over there for 1500 CR. The bank is really happy, right, looking at the statement, but this is a misstatement. The actual statement is there is 2,500 crore rupees of loan and 1500 crore rupees of assets. The bank will not be happy. Previously the bank was happy. Yes, the assets are too much and the liabilities are too low. Got it? Yes, please. Now, the materiality, this is the definition. This does not have any kind of relevance with this standards of auditing. Okay, this is just a definition which has been given. So if I talk about that, there are some implications. There are few applicabilities of laws, or you can say the legal sanctions which are applicable on materiality. They are so. Okay, first of all, let us talk about the need of materiality. Please pause. Pause karo beta. Pause. Very good. Yes. So now next is need of materiality. Why there is a need of materiality? why there is a need of materiality. So need of materiality, first of all, it's being a fundamental concept. It's first of all a fundamental concept which talks about the concept of, this is fundamental concept to recognition. You can recognize. Next is aggregation. The next is classification. Aggregation, classification, and then its presentation of financial instrument. Presentation of financial information. This is fundamental concept to process of. Right? Because if I talk about recognition, you are recognizing something, you are going to recognize the material things. If I talk about the aggregated stuff, then again you are going to find out the material things, classification of material things, right? So if I talk about the next part, that is effect on audit risk. So if I talk about materiality, the auditor is required to consider the materiality, because whenever it comes to, there is something which is material, or any transaction, any voucher, any transaction which is material, and you are going to leave it, or you have skipped it, you have omitted it, then the risk is going to increase. You have not included them, right? So the relationship of risk with materiality, that is going to increase if you have not included the material parts. Right? Got it? So this is something which I am not finding suitable. You guys have noted it down. Pause karo jaldi se. Pause. Yes beta. Pause. Now moving on to next. So if I talk about materiality, so this, but first of all, it depends upon case to case. It varies from the nature and the timing and the extent of audit procedure, and with the effect of misstatement. So first of all, you are going to, materiality for everything is different. So on materiality, we have standards on auditing. They are issued by ICAI. So they apply to the items which are material and significant to the relations of the company. And after that, we do have second schedule. To it's not institute, it's Chartered Accountants Act 1949. Right. So if I talk about this, there are also references to the material fact, material misstatements, material exceptions, material departures, right? So this is all about the second schedule. This also applies. And if I talk about the Companies Act, Schedule 3 of Companies Act 2013. This is also applicable. So these are the things which are applicable on the materiality, right? So this schedule 3 talks about that where is any item, it talks about that yes, if there in profit and loss account there should be separate disclosure. There should be separate disclosure of every item in profit and loss account if that is either an income or that is either an expenditure. या तो बेटा income है या तो expenditure है, that is exceeding 1% of total revenue, 1% of total revenue or 1 lakh rupees, whichever is higher. If any transaction is over there which is exceeding that amount, then that should be classified over there as well. But if that is exceeding 1% of total revenue or 1 lakh rupees, whichever is higher, you are going to make a separate disclosure of such kind of income or expenditure into profit and loss account. Got it, beta? This is written into schedule 3. Well, now how one can find out? That yes, this is a material transaction, this is a non-material transaction. कैसे पता लगाओगे? पता कैसे चलता है कि this is material, that is not material? कैसे पता चलेगा? Let me tell you. Pause करो. Pause. Very good. Pause. Yes. Now moving on to next. So there are few indicators of materiality. These are the general considerations, although it depends from size to size. It matters from size to size. So materiality is all about the size and nature of item, which is over there forming a part of misstatements. So there are some general considerations which I am writing down over here. So the very first is value or amount of transaction. Value or amount of transaction. That is something which is over there that can be judged. So if I talk about, a small business, 1000 rupees can be in material. If I talk about a giant business, even 10,000 rupees, 1 lakh rupees may not be material. That depends upon business. Right? Percentage analysis. Right, so percentage comparisons, they are useful in that materiality. That also depends upon the size to size. So over here, I have just given you an example being like 1%. So that is something which fits over here. There is a transaction which is more than 1% of the total revenue. That is material. Okay. The impact on overall figure of profit and loss. So let me give you a scenario. Your profit is 500 crore rupees. Right? Your profit is 500 crore rupees. Right? So in that kind of a situation, from where you are getting your maximum profit? You are getting your maximum profit for a company named as XYZ. Right? Out of this, you are getting your 200 crore rupees profit from XYZ. So this is again material. If you are getting 20 rupees profit from XYZ, this is not material. How much is going to be the impact on the figures of profit and loss? Next is previous year's figures comparison. Right. So my company name is ABC. I'm doing business with XYZ. In the year 2001, 02, 03, the business was there for 50 CR, now 100 CR, now it has raised to 200 CR. So I'm going to have a track record, I'm going to have a bird eye view on the previous year figures comparison. Got it? Right? Now, the next is, pay attention beta, ध्यान से देखना, minor deviation from statutory requirement. Let me give you a very simple example. So statutory requirement over there in section number 198. This talks about the managerial remuneration, that how much amount is required to be paid to a director. So this gives you a figure of 11% maximum in case of a public company can be given to the people as a part of managerial remuneration. You have exceeded the figure. You have given 1000 rupees extra. So that is again a non-compliance. You have just exceeded by rupees 1000. This is just a minor deviation, but this is beyond the statutory requirement, and this has caused a non-compliance. Next is, right, the next is, okay, estimation estimation errors in determinable amounts. Determinable amounts. So you were writing over there a figure being like 500 crore rupees, but you have by mistake you have written over there at 5,000 rupees. So that is just a very small amount, but just by a minor mistake, what you have done, the total figure has changed. सर बेवकूफों वाली बात कर रहे हो आप, है ना? अब तो सही में लग रहा होगा कुछ लिखा है इनके माथे पे. So that is all about if a item can be over there precisely and objectively, a small error may be material, right? If I talk about the provision for bad and doubtful debts, you have maintained it at 5 crore rupees, but somebody by mistake, that was for 5 crore rupees, somebody has written 5, right? So that can be one of the situations as well. So, okay, that is done. Now let's quickly move on to the next topic, which talks about the work approach, that how you are going to carry out your work methodology. Or else, let me give you a simple topic. Pause karo beta. Pause. Now, so an auditor is required to do audit. Will carry out audit. Now he can take the information. Where he will get the information? From where he is going to get the information? Okay, I'm getting the very simple, the very simple answer with being like within the organization, the internal one. Within organization. Very good. जिसको ये याद था बहुत अच्छी बात है. The next is yes, outside the organization. Yes, now it comes to outside organization. So what he is going to do? He is going to approach those people. What are the various sources of getting the information? Right? So that is all about sources of information. Sources of information about client business. So from where an auditor can get the information. So the very first is the annual report. The annual report, I'm not talking about annual return, annual report, board report, section 134 of Companies Act. Annual report which has been forwarded to shareholders. Minutes of meetings. These meetings can be board meeting beta. They can be board meeting, the meeting of board of directors. They can be meeting of shareholders, that is known as a general meeting, right? This can be a meeting of committees, the various committees which are associated over there. Minutes of meeting, and after that, if I talk about the next is internal financial management records. Internal financial management records. The records which are maintained by the management internally, right, for current and previous periods, that can also be obtained. Previous years audit working papers. What you will find when the trainees they are going to visit now, they are going to maintain a list of their doubts which they have. They are going to maintain a list कि यार ये सारी गलतियां हैं, ये बताओ, we need clarification. So that is all about the audit working papers. Just like you guys tend to make some kind of, working notes when it comes to any question from accounts, financial statement, financial management, यहाँ सब में working notes बनाते हो ना? Just like that. Right? Now, client's policy and procedures manual. What are the various kinds of policies which have been adopted by your client? Right? That means, client beta, you are auditor now. You have to think from auditor's point of view. After that, visit of client's premises and facilities. right? Got it? Now, you after these are the things from where you can get the information. You can straight away approach your client itself. You can approach their staff itself. They are going to provide the information. आप client को पकड़ो सीधा कि सर हमें ये चीजों की जरूरत है. They are going to provide the information. They are bound for that. उनको ये करना ही पड़ेगा. Got it? Now moving on to next part. Now there is an auditor may have a kind of discussion with the client. He can have a discussion with the client itself, and this discussion may include, this discussion may be about changes in management. Changes in management. Or you can say the organization structure. Organization structure. After that, this may also be related to activities of client. Activities of client. After that, this is also related to the current business developments. What are the current business developments of client, right? Current financial, it's financial. Oh, I'm sorry. The chapter is just about to end. We are not left with a lot of things. We are just left with few things now. Current financial or accounting problems, or accounting problems, right? There are some of the accounting problems, there may be some of the financial problems. But what are the issues which your client is already facing? But there are few services which are from which you cannot give them. That is over there in section 144 of Companies Act. वो मत दे देना वरना फंस जाओगे, right? Existence of substantial owners of business. Existence of substantial owners of business, or you can say the interested party. Is there any interested party? The interested party, they have disclosed their interest or not. Okay, new or closed premises, closed premises, and plant facility. What about the plant facility? Do you have provided any kind of new plants, or if there is something, are there any new plants, or is there anything that the plants have been closed, right? Changes in technology which they have adopted. Right? The type of products which they are making. This is quite good to understand the business. Type of products, type of distribution method, that how they are selling it. They are selling it straight away by being Patanjali, or they are selling it being using, your, what you call it as, that using some websites being like Amazon. आजकल तो Grofers से मंगवा देते हैं लोग, right? After that, changes in accounting policies. Right? After that, scope and assistance of client staff, assistance of client's personnel in data preparation, right? So these are the things which can be discussed with the client while you are doing, when you are getting the information. These are the things which you can straight away demand from the client itself. Got it? But if I talk about the audit approach, right? If I talk about, these are the things, this is all about the information, that how you are going to get the information. The approach is something different. That approach is how you are going to deal. Right? So please pause karo yahan. Pause. pause. Very good. थक गए हम, छोटे छोटे बच्चे, इतना पढ़ा रहे हो हमारे को, पते कितनी देर हो गई है। अच्छा ठीक है, कर लिया मैंने, ड्रामा कर लिया तुम्हारी साइड पर, कूल बैठो। सो ऑडिट अप्रोच, इफ आई टॉक अबाउट ऑडिट अप्रोच, नहीं होती है क्लास तो शोर करती है, क्लास नहीं हो रही है, क्लास नहीं हो रही है। अब क्लास हो रही है तो एक बारी में सर एक चैप्टर खत्म कर रहे हैं बेटा, यू जस्ट हैव अप्रोक्सीमेटली 25 चैप्टर्स, आई विल ट्राई टू कंप्लीट एवरीथिंग विद इन 25 क्लासेस। हाँ, कोशिश पूरी है, बाकी देखो। So overall audit approach. So what is it talks about? The auditor, first of all, whosoever is appointed as an auditor to carry out the audit, it is his duty to give a true and fair picture of financial statements. Right? So if I talk about, okay, auditor is required to give opinion on truth and fairness of financial statements and their compliance with statutory provisions. And they are required to disclose the things being on. So they are going to ensure that whatever the financial statements they are prepared, they are true and they are absolutely correct. Right? After that, they are going to ensure that there is proper maintenance. There is proper maintenance of accounting records and other records. Other records being like the various kind of registers and returns which are required to be maintained. Right? The registers and returns which are required to be maintained. So while giving this opinion, these things are required to be achieved by the auditor itself. Right? For giving such kind of a true view and ensure these kind of things, the auditor is required. The auditor should determine whether, the very first point is, all assets and liabilities are properly stated. Right? I mean the things which are over there as per time period, and they belong to the concerned time period. Right? It should not be like the asset has been disposed of and you are writing it back again. Right? Security for assets. Liabilities are properly disclosed. If you have taken a loan from somebody, right? You have taken a loan from somebody, and in respect of that, you have given some kind of assets. आपने कुछ assets उसको दिए. So for that situation, that is a kind of security which is provided, right? Then it's statutory provisions, rules and regulations, or documents under law, are duly created and complied. That means whatever the things which are required under the law, whether they are some kind of documents, whether they are some kind of registers, returns, whatsoever is required, they are properly duly fulfilled. Duly complied means जो मांगा है वो हमने दिया. Got it? Please pause करो बेटा. Very good. Now, the next is income and expenditure. Is properly classified, it should be are properly classified, They should be properly classified, disclosed, and properly matched. That they relate to a period that yes, they are reported in period in which they occur. Sir, what does it mean reported in the period in which they occurred? You have earned a profit of 5,000 crore rupees in the last month, but you are saying it that throughout the year we were earning 5,000 crore rupees. Such marketing tricks are not going to work over here. All contingencies, you do have a contingency reserve. All contingency and commitments are disclosed. Right. First of all, there are no material omissions in financial statements. No material omissions in financial statements. Right. And after that, there is no error in disclosing. No error in disclosing. Reporting of income, reporting of expenses, whatever you have disclosed, that is perfectly fine. Assets and liabilities. Created in financial statements. So that is all about the total scenario, that how the things are going to work. When you are going to have, these things are required to be mentioned in audit approach. Do remember what question demands. जो question demand करेगा, अगर आप वही लिखते हो, automatically the presentation is going to be super. Okay, but you have to look after what the question is demanding. Everything over here, I'm making them a part of being like question and answer. So you are required to just go through with the topic properly. Right? So if I talk about sales, everything is going to be classified as per sales. For balance sheet items, the things are going to be different. Right? The degree of risk, type of risk, the internal control systems, evidence, judgments. Right? How? Now, moving on to the next part. So methods of work, okay, so there are few things being like, what are the control points, right? What are the control points, and when an audit is required to be carried out in a systematic manner, then what are the control points? You may get a question being like 3.4.3, okay. $8.7296. Oh, I'm sorry. I was there into something else. So now moving on to next. Let me check if the question can be there. Then we will share that with you. Just give me a moment. Just give me a moment. Okay. Now let me quickly move on to the topic being like instructions before commencing work. That means before starting your work, what are the various kind of instructions which are over there and which are required to be duly complied. Right? You can write it as the person in charge, PIC. Beta PIC is person in charge of accounts. Of auditing. Auditing means your client. Auditor means you guys. Auditing means your client. May be instructed to keep ready the following. The very first is documents. Documents over here refers to MOA, articles of association, memorandum of association, contracts, various kind of agreements, agreements, registers which are required, returns which are required, minute book, everything which you guys have covered. That is covered into documents. After that, accounts list, the various kind of accounts maintained by company. The various kinds of accounts maintained by company. Okay, after that, moving on to accounts, after that the next is management. What does it mean by management? That means list of management officials, that who are the people who are appointed as a director. List of management officials. Got it? That who are the various people who are appointed into your company. Got it? From management, then it's accounting policies. Accounting policies. That means what are the various accounting policies which are adopted by a company. Which are adopted by company itself. Got it? Should I go ahead now? Please pause. Pause karo beta. Pause. Yes, pause. Now, the next is all about vouchers arrangement, because vouchers are going to be the only thing which is prepared first of all, and after that rest of the things are prepared. All vouchers are required to be arranged properly. If something is missing, then you are going to have a comment, and that person, accounts manager, is going to submit their comments on that. Right? Schedules. Schedules to financial statements. Schedules to financial statements. I'm talking about, अच्छा, have you ever seen that kind of, balance sheet देखिए कभी? आपको balance sheet पढ़नी आती है? There are some notes to balance sheet. There are some notes which are given along with the balance sheet. वहां से बेटा balance sheet पढ़ी जाती है. Balance sheet ऐसे नहीं पढ़ी जाती है जैसे तुम लोग अभी बनाते हो. Balance sheet is required to be learned or required to be, you can say, understood from the notes itself. Right? Then it's scheduled to financial statements. That can be example debtors, that can be debtors, that is fixed assets, that is fixed assets, that is depreciation, that is outstanding expenses. Right? So the schedules which are over there. And after that, the various kind of evidences. The various evidences are required to be collected by auditor. No, evidences over here refers to documents relating to contracts. Documents of contracts. Right? They may be related to list of immovable property. List of property plus that property belongs to you, that is along with ownership papers. Along with ownership papers. Right? If you do have any kind of an investment, the confirmation of that investment as well. If you have the investment in bank, तो वो बैंक आपको confirmation देगा that yes, this person is holding a kind of investment with our bank itself. Got it? Congratulations, the chapter is over, ladies and gentlemen. The chapter is over. Right? Now we are done. We'll catch you guys into the next classroom. Next classroom means, yes, where we are going to talk about, altogether a new topic. Yes, acha, beta, whatever the questions which are demanded, I'm covering everything with you guys. You are not required to remember anything apart from that. Just go through with the notes. They are self-sufficient to crack the examination. You can pass easily, but just make sure कि जहाँ मैंने एक लाइन लिखवाई है वहाँ पे उसको तुम 2-3 लाइन्स में लिख पाओ. Okay? I'm covering everything with you guys. Everything. Now, bye-bye. Take care of yourself. We'll catch you in next class. Bye. जाओ यार, जाते नहीं हो, जाओ. Bye bye.